Episode 3. The Cobra's Bite. The bayou was quiet that night, the croaking of frogs and the rustle of reeds, the only sounds beneath the sprawling cypress canopy. A soft mist hung over the water, curling like ghostly fingers through the gnarled roots of the swamp. The Mapogo had gathered at Rhino's hog farm, but tonight the tension was as thick as the humid air. Lion stood near the pens, sharpening a blade with slow, deliberate movements. His quiet authority filled the barn as the others gathered around the table where Turtle had laid out their next plan. "This is bigger than shark or ghost," Turtle said, tapping a map. "This is about control. Tyrell, the judge Baptiste runs the docks, the guns, the drugs, everything that moves through this parish. We take him out, we dismantle half the crime in this region." Panther crossed his arms, his sharp gaze locked on the map. "The judge isn't just a criminal. He's got connections, politicians, cops, people who'll protect him if it means keeping their pockets full." Cobra leaned forward, his coiled energy practically vibrating off him. "Then we cut the head off the snake. We send a message." Lion looked up from his blade, his piercing eyes narrowing. "And bring every spotlight onto us. No. We do this real careful, like clean. No bodies left. No trails." Cobra smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Always so cautious, Lion. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show people. You know, make a statement." Rhino, who had been silent as usual, finally spoke, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. "This not about you, Cobra. It's about the people out there, the ones we're protecting. Keep your ego in check, or we gonna all get killed." Cobra's grin faded, but the defiance in his eyes lingered. "Cobra." Therese Cobra Jones had grown up on the same streets the Mapogo now fought to protect. His mother worked double shifts to keep food on the table, but it was never enough. Therese had learned early how to fight, how to take what he needed to survive. At 14, he joined a gang for protection. By 16, he'd already done things he couldn't take back. When his younger brother, Malik, was killed in a robbery gone wrong, Therese swore he'd never let himself feel powerless again. Lion had found him a year later, angry and reckless, on the verge of self-destruction. Lion saw potential and Therese saw a weapon that, if tempered, could be aimed at the real enemies. But Cobra had never fully shaken the chip on his shoulder, the need to prove himself. The job. The judge's operation ran out of an old warehouse near the docks, a labyrinth of crates and shipping containers that made it nearly impossible to penetrate. Turtle had spent weeks gathering intel, using his network of informants to map out the building's layout and security. "He got 10 men inside, maybe more," Turtle explained as they prepared in the warehouse. "Armed to the teeth. We go in fast, take what we need, and get out." "Information," Lion clarified. "Not bodies." He looked directly at Cobra. The younger man rolled his eyes. Yeah. No bodies. Got it. Breaking in." The docks were dark, the faint glow of floodlights illuminating stacks of shipping containers. The Mapogo moved like shadows, their black clothing blending seamlessly into the night. Lion and Panther took the lead, their movements fluid and precise. Turtle hung back, monitoring their comms and coordinating the operation. Rhino brought up the rear, his sheer presence enough to intimidate anyone who crossed their path. Cobra, however, was restless. He'd been tasked with disabling the security cameras, but his mind was elsewhere. He wanted to prove himself. To show Lion he wasn't just the loose cannon everyone thought he was. Inside the warehouse, the Mapogo quickly subdued the guards, tying them up and leaving them in the shadows. They moved deeper into the building, searching for the judge's office. When they found it, Turtle immediately began rifling through the files, searching for evidence of the judge's operations. Lion stood guard at the door, his ears straining for any sign of trouble. But Cobra, unable to suppress his instincts, slipped away. Cobra's mistake. He found the judge in a side room, flanked by 2 bodyguards. The judge was a large man, his tailored suit straining against his massive frame. His deep voice carried an air of authority that made it clear why he was called the judge. Well, the judge said, his sharp eyes locking onto Cobra. Looks like a little snake found its way into my den. Cobra didn't hesitate. He lunged, his blade flashing in the dim light. One of the bodyguards went down, but the other grabbed him, slamming him into the wall. Gunshots rang out, shattering the silence. The aftermath. The rest of the Mapogo heard the commotion and rushed to the scene, finding Cobra standing over the judge's body, blood pooling beneath him. "What the hell did you do?" Lion roared, grabbing Cobra by the collar. "He was going to kill me." Cobra shot back. His voice defiant. Lion shoved him away, his fury barely contained. "You've just put a target on all of us. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Before Cobra could respond, Turtle called out, "We've got company." Outside, the sound of sirens filled the air. Escape. The Mapogo barely made it out of the warehouse before the cops arrived. As they disappeared into the night, Lion's mind raced. The judge's death would spark a war, one that would bring the full force of the law and every criminal in the city down on their heads. As they regrouped at the hog farm, Lion turned to Cobra, his eyes blazing. "You fucked up. You put all of us at risk. There are no second chances, Cobra. If you can't follow orders, you're out." Cobra stared back. His jaw tight. "I did what needed to be done. You can't stop me from fighting this war my way." Lion's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Then you know better than the men we after." Epilogue. Detective Lawson stood outside the warehouse the next morning, staring at the bloodstains on the floor. The judge's body had been found, but the Mapogo had vanished without a trace. "They're getting sloppy," her partner said. Lawson shook her head. "No. They're unraveling. And when they do, I'll be there to catch them." Meanwhile, Cobra sat alone on the edge of the bayou, staring at his reflection in the dark water. The taste of victory was bitter, and for the first time, doubt crept into his mind. But it was too late to turn back now.